Hey there, I'm Mr. Terry. I'm a high school history teacher. Welcome back to another History Teacher X video. All right, time for some more memes. And it looks like these ones are getting topical because this compilation from Drew is titled The Putin Interview. Got to be in reference to the Tucker Carlson interview of President Vladimir Putin of Russia. And that just happened, and it looks like the memes are already rolling in. All right, the original compilation from Drew is going to be found down below. Make sure you're supporting Drew. View, like, subscribe. He's been such a good friend of the channel. All right, and with that, let's get started. All right, first frame. This is the Tucker Carlson face I feel like you always see. He has like two faces.
Mr. Putin, why did you invade Ukraine? 4 billion years ago, the Earth was in its cooling phase. This is pretty much what he said. He was recently interviewed for the first time in a long time, and, well, this image summarizes it perfectly. We just mostly got the Russian origin story from an average Crusader Kings 2 game. Putin, let me give you context.
So, yeah. If you guys saw this, so first off, if you've seen that interview, I'm assuming this whole compilation will look a lot better. But that was, how long did Putin go on for like history? It's like it took him so long. He started with like the origins of Russia, coming from like Nordic countries and stuff, which I think is still kind of disputed a little bit, but very possible and and likely probably. Vikings taking long ships down some of the down some of the rivers that kind of go from like northwestern, I guess what you'd say today, to Russia, and then towards like Black Sea, Caspian, that kind of area. But yeah, I don't know how long he went on. And now I don't know if that was just like to I don't know, eat up time, but it was just like you just sat there and just listened. And Tucker has no idea what's going on, and eventually it's just like, what does this have to do with Ukraine? What does this have to do with Ukraine?
It's about Ukraine. Tucker, you mean the maiden? Meanwhile, Putin, yes.
Yeah. It went on so long.
I can see why many Americans were not following along. I almost thought about breaking it down myself. I knew a lot of it was going over people's heads. Anyone have a world?
You definitely saw like how much of a nationalist Putin is. And his basic claim is that Ukraine is Russian. That's what he ended up saying. Kind of saying that. And a lot of people thought that was like saying the quiet part out loud, rather than these other things that have often been said about why Russia has invaded Ukraine. But basically, it's what if you had to summarize the half hour or whatever, he just went off on history from like 600 AD or whatever it was to the present. It was Ukraine is Russia. And problem is that's not what Ukrainians would say, right? It's complicated. I mean,
I can borrow for
more
a few days. Which side would you like? Oh, we got some options. I guess she'll go with all of the above. When you're only 10 minutes into the War Thunder sesh, and one of the boys pulls out the secret documents. Well, I just to prove that his tank isn't OP enough. Literally the average War Thunder sesh. Historical footage of the last T-Rex serving his country in World War I. But isn't that a G? And the T-Rex is holding a Browning M2, which wasn't used until 1933. So I think this footage is actually of WW2. We can't fool this guy. Everyone knows we only had T-Rex battalions in World War II. Women with the time machine. I'm your granddaughter. Really? Versus men with the time machine. The asteroid is going to come hard and fast, impacting just the northeast of the Yucatan Peninsula. I will try to stop it, but in case I fail, evacuate everyone to the southern Lamandia. Thanks for the heads up. We got this now, bro. How else do you think we ended up getting those T-Rex units
doing more
in World War
voices
II?
now.
I'm from Germany. No Hilter jokes, please. I'm from Poland. No invade, please. Average Discord chat here. Definitely quite threatening there. In 1912.
And Putin brought up all that stuff too, like how Russia, had ruled Poland for centuries under the Russian Empire. But yeah.
A Japanese admiral proposed a 500-ton battleship using the logic, if a navy with many ships is too expensive, why not just have one big ship? The plan was scrapped after discovering the fuel needed alone would have bankrupted the state. It would have been sunk by late 1943 by 20 identical copies of the USS We Built This Yesterday. That's pretty much our American superpower. We were just able to make so much stuff it didn't even matter. Yeah, this probably would have been a horrible idea. But imagine we
just wrapped up World War II in AP World History class, and talking about how a major part of the United States' victory against the Japanese was simply how much faster the U.S. could produce ships than the Japanese, especially, after they'd been sunk. Pearl Harbor, very successful from a strategic point of view of trying to sink a good chunk of ships, were able to be replaced. Right. And then like after like with the attack at like Midway and then some of the other battles in the Atlantic, the Japanese had a hard time replacing that and pretty much couldn't. And it became really a war of resources and a war of industrialization. And there you go.
We just stole that ship instead and turned it into another floating ice cream factory. Ah, yes, just another average day in London. All Americans must be accompanied by an adult. I am an adult. Ooh, look at this guy, just casually navigating the Shadow Realm, or in other words, Poland.
Dude, there's got to be nothing worse for someone from a country outside of the United States, in their home country, and American tourists come and dealing with like pampered American children. Like they must be awful, touching all the stuff and like being loud and having horrible manners and stuff. That's just, I assume you run some shop in Italy or again like London or something there.
He's literally in Poland right now. The F in JFK stands for Fortnite. Rest in peace, John Fortnite Kennedy. The definition of dark humor is cloudy with a chance of meatballs destroying Mount Rushmore, with each president taking a pie to the face except Abe Lincoln, who takes a pie to the back of the head and has it seeping out of his eyes and nose. Which is probably what happened when he saw that play. Cloudy with a chance of meatballs has no chill. When you grow up, people stop asking what your favorite medieval blunt weapon is. They don't even care.
Oh gosh. What do you think? Okay, so they're all terrible. Like look at those things. They all suck. So like a flanged mace, morning star, all that stuff. Like if you hit somebody with that, it's just going to get stuck in them and then you're dead. Like those are all terrible weapons. Okay. Warhammer. What is this? Skyrim. You know what I mean? I guess the mace, but like what's wrong with just good old sword and shield, right? These are all terrible weapons. You wouldn't want to take any of these into battle. Yeah, go get stuck in somebody and then
personally,
just someone else kills you.
I'm a flanged mace guy myself. Isn't this pretty much what Sauron had? I freaking love scythes.
Actually, with that being said, on Skyrim, I like to use mace. Mace of Malakbal. So I like to do the one-handed mace and then in the other hand, like destruction, fire destruction.
Use an incredibly impractical weapon used for farming and look like a freaking bad egg reaper. These things don't make much sense.
Scythes
I'm
are useful.
Just trying to look gangsta on the battlefield.
Yeah.
So you're telling me that Caesar built a second wall around his siege camp? Yes, Tucker. Did you even look at the maps I sent you? The amount of times I've said this in my life. Do you guys even care about the maps? Man, I love when Tucker Carlson went to Carthage. Why wasn't this in the latest oversimplified episode? Food for thought. Are mashed potatoes just Irish guacamole? Oh my god. We finally figured it out.
No, because guacamole is like a topping or a dip. You don't do that with mashed potatoes. No.
Please,
sorry.
the station? Well,
Waterloo.
I'm a bit freaking late for the battle. Classic British humor right here. This is one of the best, though. Oh, man.
All right, we all know that, right? Waterloo, the last battle for Napoleon. After that, he was exiled. His final exile to St. Helena, lives out his years in isolation in the island in the South Atlantic. All right. Oh, here's his tomb.
Die, but not his ideas.
Dude, okay. Neapolitan, it's not Napoleon ice cream. I hope people know that. Even though I think I probably thought of that when I was a kid. Underrated ice cream. I absolutely love Neapolitan ice cream. Having all three is perfect because I love all three and you mix them up. Oh, good ice cream.
This was the single biggest thing Napoleon brought to the world. What would we do without Neapolitan ice cream? I don't care if it's actually a region of Italy. You know who else was from Italy? Napoleon. This reminds me exactly how Julius Caesar changed the world.
Corsica, are we calling that Italy?
Number 2. Just found out that Julius Caesar had epilepsy. I'm about to piss myself.
Dude, I know
Listen,
that.
I know it's a serious disease, but do you think every time he was having a seizure, everyone was just like, MFer is having a Caesar? Oh, did we actually spell it wrong? So he brought more to us than just the salad. Man, his imprint on history is so legendary. Oh, look, it's great.
I was sad to hear that the actual Caesar dressing was just some chef in like California or something a few decades ago. I always hoped it was about Julius Caesar, but sorry to break anyone's spirits with that one. All right, what about Britain here?
Just the salad. Man, his imprint on history is so legendary. Oh, look, it's Great Britain. Meanwhile, Britain, according to American films. Yeah, now this is pretty much just a Harry Potter movie.
Just
There's
darker.
Only 2 colored filters we have describing different countries.
No color in Britain.
It's blue or yellow. Take your pick.
Yeah, the sepia tone, I was going to say.
There's only 2 colored filters we have describing different countries around the world. It's blue or...
So what explain, I don't know, what, is it sepia? What do you call this tone that was supposed to be in like, yeah, Mexico movies? Like, where did that start and what was the idea behind it? Was it to add like that it's supposed to be really hot, so like the air is orange? You know what I mean?
Or yellow, take your pick. Yeah! Just checking out my stolen stuff at the British Museum. Man's having a blast. One day they might figure out how to put.
Hey, I put a question a few weeks ago on the YouTube community page. Did a poll of that if a nation requests their items in foreign museums to be returned, should they be returned? Should they be returned? And there was a lot of a diversity of opinion and a lot of like stipulations that people thought. But yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? So especially stuff that wasn't like sold. You know what I mean? Like sold the country, like the British Museum. During a lot of during years of British imperialism, a lot of artifacts were taken, brought back to the British Museum, where they're being protected and all that stuff. But countries like Benin with their their bronze statues have like requested those, and so have other countries. So do you think that should be mandatory to return?
Pyramids in there too. Africa. Light, that's not how it works. Mexico. And the Death Note completely destabilized officially established.
Should I be watching Death Note, by the way?
Wait, Africa's a continent. I didn't mean to fall for that. Mysterious old
Did I
lady
miss that
flips
ship?
tarot card, revealing a dude who looks exactly like me flying a hot air balloon into power lines. What? Me? Is that good? Weird how often that happens. This is Jonathan. He's 188 years old today. It's not lost on me that Jonathan lived through slavery and did nothing. Jonathan, how could you? Mr. Putin.
Jonathan was complicit during the slave trade. Yeah, John officially it's a slave apologist. Come on, tortoises.
Jonathan lived
All right,
through slavery
back to Tucker.
Nothing.
What do we got?
Jonathan, how could you? Mr. Putin, why did you invade Ukraine? I'm just coming to that. You see, on May 28th, 2016, a gorilla was shot.
Harambe?
Maybe Putin goes on to reveal he himself shot Harambe. What a
no.
twist. When you're 3 hours into an interview and busing for the
Salutes for Harambe. I know it's been a while, but you are not forgotten, sir.
toilet, but an armed Russian guard signals you to when you're 3 hours into an interview and busing for the toilet, but an armed Russian guard signals you to sit back down so Putin can finish his 37-minute story about the Duchy of Lithuania
did he try
first
to
importing bananas into Europe in
Did Tucker try to get up?
And that's why Ukraine shouldn't exist today. I
didn't hear that part. Did he try to get up and like go? But they were like, no, you can't leave. You're going to listen to the whole history of Russia from a purely hyper-nationalistic perspective. With no nuance of foreign perspectives or minority perspectives.
I would have thought this is likely what happened. Made the man soil himself. Claims to have documents that 100% prove NATO blew up Nord Stream. Gives Tucker a copy of a 9th century letter in Cyrillic instead. He didn't even translate it into English. He's just like, you can translate that later if you want.
Cyrillic's
Why did you invade Ukraine?
Weird
Is it
looking.
NATO expansion?
It's actually cool
culture?
looking.
US meddling? Just tell us, please. In 148,000 BC, when first Russian monkey took the club against Western lizards. He's getting to it. Just give him 3 more days to continue to go over this history. If Back to the Future took place today, Marty would travel back in time to 1994. I'm pretty sure the director of this movie won't allow there to be any sequels, but I'm like super confident this would be like the only remake of a movie that would actually be really good. Please send a Gen Z kid back to LA in 1994. I feel like they kind of still have similar fashion. Baggy pants came back. When millennials pretending to be a Zoomer calls their dog Doggo. Literally an instant giveaway. That or when we say pupper.
I've never heard anyone in real life say doggo or puppers. Maybe puppers, but definitely not doggo. Are you guys putting in internet culture into your real speech? Oh no, do you talk to people?
He's right behind me, isn't he? We've all had this feeling before. POV, you're a frog in a burrow. I'm marking for protection so you can rest safely. This is the face of salvation. Thank you, sir. Nuke at the club. Nuke at the club. Legalize nuclear bombs. Sometimes you...
What the heck?
You, sir. Nuke at the club. Nuke at...
Some dude just holding that up like... Drop the nuke.
The club. Legalize nuclear bombs. Sometimes you need to decrease the size of your circle to increase its value 100. Yeah. Oh yeah, by 100%.
You save money.
Nickel and that's a dime. I don't know why we did that. Camera was invented in
cheaper.
1816. People before 1816. This is like a caveman historical footage, but they also did this in 1815, just if you were not aware. Boy, I sure love guarding the southern border of the Eastern Roman Empire in 632. It's the easiest job ever. Who could actually attack us from this desert? Oh no, Doge. Somebody tell him. Met a really hot girl who was half Japanese, half Filipino.
Well, it was a bunch of people repeatedly, starting with basically the first dynasty of Muhammad and Rashidun Caliphate and so forth. Met a really hot girl who was half Japanese, half Filipino. I think I ruined it by constantly calling her
No,
jalapeno.
think I ruined it by constantly calling her jalapeno. Update, we got married. Way
Yeah,
too many people
go
don't
Bloy.
understand that if you can't do this, it's not real love. The football deep state
True.
rigging the game for Kansas City to generate infinite
Rigged.
money
Biden
after a
rigged it,
season
huh?
of build-up of the Taylor Swift-Travis Kelce relationship. Obviously, that was much more powerful of a force than Buffalo Wild Wings rigging the game. Talking about the Super Bowl here, even the...
All right, guys. Yeah. I actually thought it was really funny that like Biden kind of like played along with it with this tweet, like just like we drew it up, Kansas City winning.
Government was in on it. Joe Biden himself from the official account tweeted this after Kansas City.
I mean, the
won.
problem
Literally
is it's just like if people already believe that, it's gonna literally make them do that. Oh no, she's talking to Roger Goodell.
all forces, even the U.S. government was in on it. Turn on the TV, turn
Commissioner
on any
of
channel.
football.
Plankton is freaking attacking the Super Bowl. I wish I would have just watched this version of the Super Bowl. It would have been way better.
I was actually okay. So, did any of you watch the Nickelodeon version? So, Nickelodeon, they did it too. What is it? What did they do? Like just this, and they like drop digital slime on the players or something? Was it more entertaining? I need to know for next year.
And is freaking attacking the Super Bowl. I wish I would have just watched this version of the Super Bowl. It would have been way better. Please talk about modern day politics. Anyways, in 1019, this guy, the Wise, became the Grand Prince of... Sometimes I feel like people
Back to the Tucker interview.
like this. I could just history
He just
ramble
took
and
it
ramble.
for
My
like
flatmate
an
has asked
hour.
me to clean up because he's bringing a date back. I've made a shrine to Princess Diana in his room.
Princess
Well, you know what?
Di.
This actually could go hard, but this also could terribly backfire. Worth a shot. How tall is the UK?
How tall is it?
Google with 5 feet and 9 inches.
That's it.
Wow, the island itself seems a lot larger than just that. Every time I come to London,
very
my mates
flat.
will say stuff like, get the Pinkersmith line to Banana and Dolphin, and then you can change onto the Dinker Doink line to Splooge Street, and expect me to understand what the hell they're talking about. This man's not even exaggerating. That's actually what they're called, at least according to my American mind. Oh, so you're a history teacher. Name everything. All right, here we go. And thank you to the patrons.
How would a lawsuit if Drew like mentioned me or something? Yeah, this is so funny
You're a
because it's
history
like
teacher. Name everything.
so like if I talk about something, this is honestly like a response I get to videos if commenting or doing one of my own original or like one of my own videos, you know, lessons and stuff here on YouTube. It's like if I get something wrong or admitted something just for whatever, it's like, oh, I thought you were a teacher. Oh, the best one is when they put teacher in quotes, like the teacher. Oh my gosh, it's so stupid. Anyway, final thoughts. Anyways, what do you guys think of the interview and that, like the history part where he was talking about the history? Like, did you find that interesting? I mean, obviously Putin has a deep like a deep knowledge of history of that. You can see how nationalistic he is and how it's directing politics of using history as a guide towards foreign policy, right? Like you could see it's like regaining the territories of the old Russian empires and stuff like that. But again, it becomes difficult because there's all these other viewpoints and other perspectives and other things that are there. And it complicates it, as you can see. You know, it's like the Ukrainians are literally fighting back, right? And yes, there's parts of Ukraine, you know, that allied and such. But anyways, what do you guys think of the interview? And I guess what more importantly, what you think about Putin and his approach on history directing Russian foreign policy and warfare right now? How do you think those things combine? And what do you think is the not legitimate, but like, what do you think's the end goal, the likely end goal here? And do you think it can match up with what he thinks Russia should look and feel like based off a historical perspective? And is that possible in a situation that I think is way more diverse and complicated than I think he's expecting people to think it is? I don't know if that was a bunch of word salad. It kind of made sense in my head. But anyways, the whole thing about history driving the politics and the drive of Russia right now. Anyways, with that, thanks again for Drew being so cool and down with me covering stuff. Thanks again to him too. He came out back in December to my holiday stream and hung out with us. A lot of fun. Good guy. Be sure you sub, watch his videos, and we'll see you all next time. Bye.